Hi, this is Skeleton Key. I've had this channel for a few weeks now, but I never have done the newbie tag. I'm probably going to break it up. From your perspective, I'll have it all in one video, but I'm going to answer a question or two a day probably, so I'm going to kind of chop this up into little bits for myself. Because there's how many questions? There's 9 questions, so... Brenda C. originated these questions, and I got them from Carrie at Carrie Can Read, her BookTube channel. And so I'll just jump in with the first one. And why did I start this channel? The short answer, my husband made me. The longer answer is that I'm a lifelong reader. Well, I started young, and I have more experience in my life reading than doing anything else, except maybe talking. But I don't talk that much, and that's one thing, is that I write, and I am very uncomfortable expressing myself with the spoken word. As you can tell, this is difficult for me, and I would like to get beyond that. I would like to improve my speaking skills. Of course, I say that now everyone's a forced hermit, and I know all the extroverts in my life are just really upset, and I was just like, what? Nobody's making me go anywhere. This is awesome. But at the same time, I do belong to a lot of book clubs, and I do enjoy talking about books. To me, this format is more limiting and more stressful, but it's good to be forced out of my comfort zone. But I do enjoy talking about books. Yeah, I'm involved in so many bookish related things. But as far as why I started this channel, it's a way to interact with the bigger book community and put myself out there a little bit more. Okay, question 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Well, let's see. I'm a writer. That's not unique at all. I'm a musician. That's still not unique. Well, kind of fun. Maybe I'll play something now and then. I don't know. I am a book crosser. That is... I have not seen any other booktubers, at least who are prominently book crossers, who talk about book crossing, and I would like to do that. I would like to bring some of my book crossing world into the YouTube world, and yeah, having more book crossers is always a wonderful thing. And so I'll do some videos and kind of share that with you in the future. I do have other hobbies like cooking. In the old days, I used to like to travel when I could, and so might share some of that. The only other thing I can think of is that I'm really old. I don't think I'm the oldest booktuber. I might be. I don't know. Chances, if you are a booktuber, chances are I am old enough to be your mother. So yeah, I'm old, and so I might be able to bring a slightly different perspective. I was born with a TBR shelf, literally. I mean, I remember when I was a toddler and there'd be books on the shelf and I'd be like, oh, that looks cool. I have been accumulating books for a very long time. So you will see a lot more out of print books. And I have a lot of friends who have published books. And so you might be seeing some more obscure books from me. So I think you'll see some different book selections from me. So I'm back in the lair and testing the air quality. Yeah, we have another fire going, and it's actually a lot closer. It's only like 10 or 15 miles away. And also at 0% containment. Yeah, I got some laundry out of the dryer this morning, and apparently the smoke is coming into the house through the laundry vent, the dryer vent. So, yeah, that's not good. But so far, I'm down in the lair, and so far it's not that bad. We'll give this a shot. Yeah, you can hear it in my voice, can't you? It's... Alright, question 3. What are you excited about for this channel? I think a lot of it is just being part of a community that I've grown to love very quickly. I really didn't start watching BookTube regularly until probably last November, December, when a bunch of the challenges were, the annual reading challenges, because I do way too many of those. But they usually around November they start posting their prompts for the following year, and of course there are some booktubers who weigh in on that, and so I got to watching a bunch of booktubers, and I was hooked. So, and I don't know at what point I would be considered part of the community, but I'm excited to be at least, making that effort and trying to be a part of the community. And also, I'm excited to have a different way of expressing how I feel about books. I do write book reviews. I've been writing book reviews for years now. I'm much more comfortable with that, having that leisure to express myself in writing and agonize over a word choice for 15 minutes, whatever, which is probably why I'm such a slow writer and probably why I'm so far behind on my book reviews. I'm hoping that the two media will inform each other, that I can kind of get my thoughts out in one way on video, have a reaction that has more immediacy, and then I can work that into my written book reviews. And then, why do you love reading is question 4. I think this is question 4. This list only has 9 questions. I think I've seen other people post videos that there's a 10th question in here somewhere. So if I find that, I'll probably tack it on at the end or something. But question 4 is, why do you love reading? And I think it opens access to whole new worlds of information and entertainment. Sure, I read a lot for entertainment and just pure escapism, but apparently my mom had a really hard time reading to me when I was a child. I have an older brother, and of course he learned to read before I did. He's 6 years older than I am. And so apparently when I was like 2 or 3, it started registering in my consciousness that my mom and my brother, they could open this volume and look at these little squiggly lines on the page, and they would obtain meaning from that. And that just bugged me no end, that I did not have that ability. It's like, damn it, I want to do this. So my mom would try to read to me, and I would just constantly interrupt her. I was like, what's that? And I would just point at the letter, what's that? And so finally, she gave up on reading to me, and she's like, fine, I'm just going to have to teach you how to read. So she did. Part of it she did, just explaining letters and the alphabet to me. And also we had electric company was a thing then. So she was just, she'd go do housework or cooking or whatever, and she would just plop me down on the floor in front of the electronic babysitter, and just plopped me down in front of electric company. And so yeah, I learned to read when I was about 3, I think. By the time I was like 4, I think I was like writing letters to, yeah, I think I was about 4, and the local station, they took electric company off the air, and they replaced it, much to my brother's delight, with Land of the Lost. And I was not happy about this, and I would just complain. And Mom finally said, well, why don't you just write them a letter? I'm like, I can do that? So yeah, I did. My Mom and my brother too. They both they helped me write a letter, and they sent it to the station. And the station manager actually, he wrote me a very nice letter back, and he explained syndication to me. It's like, oh my, I wish Mom had like taken him up on the offer and taken me to the station, and I thought that was a really nice thing of him to offer, but yeah, we didn't live close enough, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's why I love reading. It's like, you can do shit. Awesome. And what book or series got you into reading? I don't honestly remember the very first things I read. I do have a memory of, we had a library in our house, and it was, you'd go up the stairs from the kitchen into this library edition. And I remember sitting at the top of the stairs with this medical encyclopedia that was about yay thick. And I would just read it. And I don't know why. Well, I know why I'm not a doctor. I'm way too squeamish. I had a biology professor in college who was like, you need to go pre-med. And I'm like, no, you don't want to see me when there's blood and guts around. No, that's a bad idea. I'm good with bones. It's just the decaying flesh, and of course with live people, and it's just, yeah. But what book or series got me into reading? The one that really sticks in my mind is Encyclopedia Brown. I don't know when exactly I discovered this. I think I was like 5. Somewhere around first grade is when I really got into the Encyclopedia Brown books. And then in 3rd grade, I got to meet the author, Donald J. Sobel, and at this Kidlit festival they did every year, and our school district every year would send the 3rd grade class to this Kidlit festival at a university several counties away. And I met several others, but Donald J. Sobel's the one that stuck in my head, and he's the one I blame for being bitten by the writing bug. And so gotta go with Encyclopedia Brown on that one. Okay, I think I am on question 6 now, and that is, what challenges will you face starting BookTube? Well, obviously a complete lack of video editing skills. I have learned at least a few basics, but yeah, I really need to improve on that. And it's also a challenge that talking is not really my thing, and I'm hoping to improve, at least gradually, expressing myself in speech, and then not having to edit out all of my pauses, because I'm sitting there for 5 minutes trying to think of the right word to use. So question 7, where do you read? And that's pretty much anywhere, or at least in the before times it was anywhere. I have been known to show up at a picnic, a 4th of July picnic with a flashlight and a book, so that while we're sitting around waiting for the fireworks to start, I have something to read. And it's, when it gets too dark, I have the flashlight, so I'm good to go. And yeah, I remember as a child, I got lectured a lot about how I really should not be reading my Agatha Christie novels or whatever it was I was reading during the sermons at church. And eventually my parents just kind of gave up and were like, yeah, whatever. Okay, fine. I mean, at least I was quiet, right? I mean, I wasn't being disruptive. It's just the novel was usually more interesting than the sermon. So now in the plague times, pandemic times, it's mostly here at home. Don't like to go outside, especially now because, yeah, air quality. We're having lots of ash falling from the sky now, and of course the wildfires have upset the wildlife. So we're getting, we have bears roaming the city now, and fortunately I don't think any have come that close to our neighborhood, but it's kind of random. So, and we're not exactly downtown, so yeah, I don't really want to go outside if I can avoid it. I'll pretty much go out to water my tomatoes, and that's about it. But so inside, mostly I end up reading either in bed, or I have a blue IKEA chair. And I have seen this same model of chair from IKEA in so many BookTube videos. It's like, this is a very popular reading chair. But what is it, Sandstrom? No, I keep wanting to call it Sandstrom or something. It's something like that. I forget the model name. Something Swedish. But I have that in the great room on the main level. So I don't know why I don't. Well, I mean, right now it's the air quality is usually not as good down here, but it is nice and cool down here. Of course, it's going to start snowing on Tuesday, so yeah, day after Labor Day is supposed to snow, and they're talking like a foot of snow. But at least maybe that will help with the fires. I don't know. But I don't know why I don't hang out here, down here in the lair more often, because we've got a really nice lazy boy, and I should do that more. So now we're on question 8. When did you start reading? About age 3. I think I've talked about this a little bit already. I was about 3 when Mom plunked me down in front of electric company and said, here, go. I was probably more like 4 when I started, like, reading picture books on my own, that sort of thing. But I made a good start, I think, when I was 3. And then question 9, and this is the last question that I have on my list. I found the other question that I'm missing. I don't have it on this list that I have written down here, but I'll look it up later. So question 9 is, what kind of books do you like to read? Well, I'm a long time mystery buff. The first, like I said, the first series that I remember really getting into was the Encyclopedia Brown series. And then I was, I think, 8 when I started in on Agatha Christie's. Mom and I would go to garage sales because, we were kind of poor. And so a lot of our stuff came from garage sales. So Mom and I would go to garage sales. But one thing, and I don't know where she found the money, but Mom never said no when I wanted a book. I don't think ever. If I wanted a book, she would buy me the book. I was, I think, the only kid who, those Scholastic book order forms, I would just go through and I would just tick off every single book on the order form, and Mom's like, okay. Then again, I lived in a town, and it wasn't even that small of a town, but we did not have a public library. I was pretty much limited to the school's library and what we had at home, which fortunately for me was quite extensive. I remember at one point my teacher saying something to my mom about I wasn't spending enough time in the school library, looking up things in the encyclopedia or whatever. And mom's like, well, why should she do that? We have 3 perfectly good sets of encyclopedia at home. Yeah, so I grew up in a very book oriented family. But anyway, back to the question, which was what kind of books I like to read. Yeah, so anything mystery. I loved Agatha Christie. I also really liked supernatural stuff, like what was it? Ruth Chu, I think, wrote these books about there was like a witch next door. I don't know, that was so long ago, but I liked books about witches, and I liked ghost stories. I remember like The Ghost Belonged to Me. That was one of my favorites when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And back to mystery, of course, I read a bunch of Nancy Drew's, but, and I actually preferred the Hardy Boys, but it was the 70s and I had a huge crush on Sean Cassidy, so of course I watched the Hardy Boys mysteries on TV, even though that was a rather short-lived series, but, I read Nancy Drew, I read Hardy Boys, but I also read like Trixie Belden and the Happy Hollisters, all this really old stuff that all you Gen Zs are like, what? Have you even heard of Encyclopedia Brown? Actually, I don't know. Stuff that was kind of old even when I was a kid. I don't know when I started getting into, and I think I did. I mean, I read The Hobbit when I was in middle school, like 5th or 6th grade, and so I liked fantasy. When I was younger, I didn't really identify myself as a fantasy reader, but I did read a lot of fantasy and science fiction, and the older I've gotten, the more I've really enjoyed a lot of the crossover fiction and historical fiction, especially when there's a mystery. If there's not some sort of mystery to the story, then it's just boring. It's like, what's the point? If there's not a jewel heist or a dead body, I kind of lose interest. So, slice of life stuff, I'm just really not there for it. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I read. So hey, it's only the middle of September and I have finally found the other question for Newbie Tag. So apparently it was question number 6, which is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I don't know. I'm bad at asking questions. Yeah, just ask any of the teachers I've ever had. I'm just like, I'll either figure it out on my own or not, which is probably a very bad way of going about pretty much anything. So I guess I would ask, how do you actually connect with other booktubers? Are there any tricks to it, or are you just naturally outgoing? I guess that's a question. So there is my BookTube Newbie Tag, for what it's worth. It's been so long since I actually started this video that I don't remember what I said. So I hope I said something that you find interesting or valuable. But I hope you'll comment and, tell me if you've got any tips or tricks or, things that have made BookTube easier for you, or if anything I've said here resonates with you. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and recording more on my channel. So hopefully I'll create some content that you like. Please, if you're so inclined, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you around.